talk about 500-word essay.
All right. So again, you often don't know who your donor is if it's a private or an outside scholarship. So you really have to sell yourself. I don't believe in bragging. I don't think that's okay. But there may be, I know in my particular case, we would have sometimes upwards of 1,000 students apply for scholarships. So it was very competitive. It sounds like maybe being a part of PTK maybe will lower that a little bit. Won't have quite as much because your scholarships are very focused. So you have to write this dear donor letter or essay, whichever they call it. Now, again, it's going to vary by location, how you go in and get, actually get into the application. And again, so the dear donor letter is really a letter that describes your educational and career goals and how receiving a scholarship will help you achieve those goals. All right, so a well-constructed letter should look something like this. Give some biographical information. I know when I was in college, I was a little bit older student, so that to me, I wasn't able to apply for any particular scholarships, but that would have been an important factor. Like I have been working full time and saving all the money I could to go to school full time, which I ended up transferring and doing. And that's sometimes nice to hear because it shows that you're a well-rounded person. You've been working, you've been, out there in the workforce. Then you want to go on to any academic achievements. Obviously, if you're in PTK, that you've already earned that achievement. Believe it or not, volunteerism or community service is important to include. Again, certain scholarships ask for that, that you've done so many hours of community service. Any organizations that you participated here at the college. And then another thing at the end, then talk about, or you could talk about your work experience right up here. I mean, these don't have to be in perfect order this way. But you'll talk about your work experience, additional financial burdens you may have. Maybe you're a single parent. You can say, I'm a single parent and, I'm going to school full time, I'm working, I have however many children. Sometimes that, again, I always say if my grandmother could get her bachelor's degree at 57, then anybody can get a degree, no matter how old they are. And again, that's the whole point, is that we want to find really what you qualify for, and hopefully we can meet that need for you. Usually there's a committee, and they look at the letters, they look at the applications, and in a lot of cases, your letter may be shared with the donor, especially in the case of private or outside scholarships. All right, again, your letter should be approximately 500 words. I did notice on the PTK scholarship, they asked for 500. I have seen some that were a little bit less than that, but again, that's up to the particular donor. Definitely type it in a word processing program first. Such just bring up a Word document and bring up a Word document and type in there. That way you're not trying to edit on screen, because generally you can't see the whole thing. So I don't know of another way to do it. I'm pretty biased on that. I say, look, this is how you got to start it. Because again, it gives you a way to also transmit it to other people that you may want to review it, or if you come in to see us in the Writing Center, then you've got it saved. As Becca mentioned, the PTK scholarship deadline is December 1st. So that you think about it, that's less than a month away. So this is, if you're like me and you keep a pretty detailed to-do list. This probably has to come up pretty near the top. And again, be forthright and honest, but be sure to show. I always say you can show or you can tell. People are going to learn more if you show them how to do it. So that's even part why we have this workshop, to just kind of show you how to go in and because this can be seem daunting to some students, but don't let that deter you from applying. Again, so show that you are a wonderful candidate for a scholarship. Okay, and so the handout that I prepared just really it mirrors this very closely. I just left. I didn't put that in there because you can customize this however you want it. But again, usually there are two types of essays. There's a narrative one where your body paragraphs are more or less telling a story. You're probably going to do more by topic because again, you'll want to include the 5 areas that were mentioned. So you would say, I'm however many semesters you're in. I know, most people are no higher than a sophomore level. I graduated from now. To me, this is important because maybe not if you're an older student, but a younger student just coming from high school, this way they can kind of show their track record. Or maybe you earned a GED. And again, just the approximate time period that you earned that. Tell them your field of study. That is often a big factor in you receiving a scholarship, especially for very specific scholarships. Again, tell them a little bit, why did you choose this field of study? And then by earning your Associate of Arts or Sciences degree, you hope to gain employment in this field. This to me is a very important one. Indicate if you plan to further your education beyond your associates, because this again shows the committee that yes, they're going to transfer, they're going to continue to incur additional costs. All right, so the second part, your academic achievements. Again, give them as much information as you can. You could talk about your GPA in high school, academic achievements or awards earned then, and definitely about your academic experience here so far. Another thing that I've had students write about is, that a particular class that they took or a particular instructor really motivated them to want to keep going to school. And, give them some kudos too, because again, I know in my own personal experience, my grandmother and a wonderful teacher, many wonderful teachers in high school really encouraged me to go for that degree. So again, this just, so basically what you would say if you're here already is, I'm working hard to maintain and or improve the GPA. And even though most, since we're a 2-year degree program, a lot of times it's based on, 4 to 6 semesters. But again, if you go on, you're gonna need that additional money. All right, I mentioned this, and this is just kind of breaking down the big overview. Show the committee that you're a well-rounded candidate. Anything you do outside the academic realm, it could be something you do at your church. Again, this would be something, that you do consistently and that someone could, if necessary, write a reference for you. It could be a civic or community group. Some students volunteer for, it could be the Down Syndrome Association. It could be American Heart Association, any of those charities. And again, do you participate in any organizations? This could be either inside or outside of the college. Now, if you're a member of a sorority or fraternity, which, PTK, you've got that membership. So of course you would indicate that. If you were in National Honor Society in high school, that's a very earned designation. So it can't hurt to put that in there, because again, even though it may have been a few years ago, it still shows that you were then and you are now serious about your studies. If you were or are a student athlete, indicate that. Again, you want to show the committee who you are as a person. 500 words sounds like a lot, but when you really get into it, and if you kind of think about breaking it down, the 5 sections, approximately 100 words each, then it doesn't sound quite so challenging. All right, work experience and additional financial burdens you may have. Again, that's unique to each person, but show them again, with this amount of money and this amount of tuition and fees, it's pretty hard to stretch all that. I mean, a little bit of additional support. Again, put in how much you receive for Pell Grants, how much you're borrowing in loans, and then how much you're willing, you can afford to put in out of pocket. How many hours a week are you working? If you are working, I surveyed my students, I believe it was Tuesday, and I was surprised at the number that were working 32 or more hours. It was well over half the class, as well as juggling household responsibilities, all that kind of thing. All right, so in conclusion, I put this in here again just because we're trying to have a broad focus. A lot of scholarship applications require a letter of reference, but all you have to do is ask that person. You send them a link, and they answer, give the reference back in, kind of the same way that you're doing your letter. So whomever you ask to write this reference will do this and submit it as required. There's, different requirements for different scholarships. Sell yourself, and sell yourself, right? If we say something 3 times, we're supposed to have it, right? And we just want to wish you the best of luck in the application process. And of course, we would love to see you in the Writing Center. Come run your letter by us before you submit the application. I guess as an English focused person, I would just say these type of things take a lot of proofreading. You can make the smallest little mistake, and not that they're looking at you in judgment, but it could change something. So just make sure that another set of eyes, at least one other set of eyes, has looked at your application. So again, we would love to help you with that. Is this the current?
That's for the writing tutoring schedule. Yes.
So
all the schedules.
Right. So you can access with the QR code how to come in, showing our availability. So again, like I said, we would love to see you, and just best of luck.
Yeah, I think that's all good advice. Okay, are there any other questions? People online. I'm going to put. You said the financial aid is Lafayette dash fin aid. Just fin aid at ivtech.edu. So they can answer not just your scholarship questions, but financial aid questions. Because we got to say probably the most important thing: do your FAFSA. Because some students think I make too much money or I'm not going to qualify. Do it anyway, because that's how a lot of scholarships get your information, or they need that information as part of the application. So always do your FAFSA, even if you're an older student who's coming back and you don't think you're going to qualify. Because actually, I just went to graduate school and I qualified for a scholarship, and I got it by writing a short letter to the donors, and apparently I sold myself. So yeah, we want to help you all. If you have other questions besides the financial aid office, if you have questions about PK students probably already have my information, but it's rwulf@ivtech.edu for my email. All right, thank you so much to the ones who joined us in person, and We'll share out a recording for those who aren't able to make it. Thanks, everyone.